I have two questions. One of the biggest problems in this country right now is the education system. What are you doing for education system, or what are you thinking about the education? What are you doing for education? What are you thinking about education? What are you doing? What are you thinking about education? One. Two, the arts. How are the arts going to be supported? Precisely. I don't want rhetoric. I want we need to. I really want to know. I really want to know. 20 million given to APCO should have been given to lots of people in Malaysia who actually already are one Malaysia. We are already one Malaysia.
Right.
Thank you.
Can I just pose this question to the both of you, since you're both from Pakatan Rakyat? How high is education and the arts in terms of your priorities?
Thank you.
Education very high. In my view, the effort that we are putting in is very high. The amount of focus and time we spend debating education debate is actually a lot. I stood up so many times, the higher education minister refused to entertain me after a while. He said, "You have already asked 2 questions, enough, you go." And I'm trying to push in a third and a fourth. But for the arts, I must say I have not been looking at it.
How about here? Now, in terms of education, I think mainly, we have mentioned this in Parliament as well, but in terms of the University Colleges Act, that's one of the strangleholds that is keeping our students. I think one of the main themes in the 10th Malaysia Plan is to ensure innovation remains the main engine for growth. But I don't see how a government-led talent cooperation, for example, is going to bring that innovation. So I suggested, and a couple of us suggested, that you have to abolish the University Colleges Act and allow the freedom to prosper among students. Because at the end of the day, it begins there. I mean, it's not so much a top-down approach, what the government thinks students should be doing, what the government thinks we should be studying, but it's a whole process of ensuring that they are empowered and they are allowed to choose. I think with TKR, the arts has been quite, is being focused by some MPs in Parliament, especially by Tanah Merah. In Tanah Merah, he hardly speaks, but when he speaks, it's all about art. And we basically ask for what kind of education that has to be given to support and rejuvenate the art scene. In the last session, the session before that, and I think the MP of Selangor, especially, has been supportive in bringing in a lot of, not just Siti Nurhaliza, don't bring Siti Nurhaliza, she's too costly, but just, basically trying to make arts as part of the Selangor state government programs. We had the graffiti competition. I can't remember, there's a series of competition to attract the youth and also to encourage participation and understanding from politicians. Pardon?
The one in Selangor.
The one in Selangor, as well as Frinjan. I think Frinjan. They had a series of programs targeted for the youth with and without state aid. But basically, it has been an ongoing program. It has been about a couple of months. I would say still new, but it has marked a shift in terms of how a state government views the art scene. And I am very encouraged, actually. I attended a few programs organized by Frinjan. And of course, you want more. You want to showcase a lot more artists. But the fact that they're focusing on the underground rather than the, I don't want to mention the Siti Nurhaliza or Mawis of the world, is a crucial determining factor of how Malaysian talent has to be supported. But it doesn't mean 1 or 2 names that has been household names, but there's so much more than that. So certainly, there's so much more we can learn from, but we really encourage, Marian, you have to come in now, you have to give suggestions, you can't just be a passive observer. And,
I'm never passive.
I know, but linking back to that is also the fact that, we had a sort of a screwed up bunch of some candidates, and I think people can see that. But that's also partly because we was really desperate for people who were willing to contest in the last general elections. Trust me, I just had my baby then, she was 4 months old. That was the last thing on my mind. But I think, like Tony mentioned, some things, it's really important to take a stand. And it goes beyond whether winning or losing the elections, but certainly you have to win in order to implement changes and reform. But that's why I like to make this call. You really have to please participate. And it's not going to be perfect, but I am telling you, we are listening. Pakatan Rakyat, I think whatever has happened, it has helped us sort of slap in the face lah. You know, it just gives us some understanding, look, you better do something or you're going to lose everything in that next general election.